Today, we're diving into a story that pushes the very limits of human endurance. A tale that proves the will to live in triumph over the most impossible odds. This is the incredible story of Juliane Koepcke, the sole survivor of a horrific plane crash who navigated the treacherous Amazon rainforest for 11 days, all alone. It was Christmas Eve, 1971. A day that should have been filled with joy and anticipation turned into a nightmare. 17-year-old Juliane and her mother were aboard Lanza Flight 508, flying over the Peruvian jungle. They were heading to Koepcke to reunite with Juliane's father, a renowned zoologist. The sky grew dark, the turbulence violent. A bolt of lightning struck the plane's wing. What happened next is the stuff of nightmares. The aircraft disintegrated in midair. Juliane found herself still strapped to her seat, plummeting thousands of feet from the sky. The dense canopy of the Amazon rainforest, which would soon become her prison, was ironically her savior. The thick leaves and branches cushioned her fall, breaking what would have been a fatal impact. She awoke the next morning alone. A broken collarbone, a deep gash on her arm, one eye swollen shut, and a severe concussion were the immediate tolls of her survival. But she was alive. Imagine that moment. The silence of the jungle, punctuated by the unfamiliar sounds of insects and distant creatures. The crushing realization that you are the only one. Around her were the scattered, devastating remnants of the crash. The grief was immense, but shock and the primal instinct to survive took over. Her parents, both scientists who worked in the Amazon, had taught her valuable lessons. What I had learned from my father, she later recalled, was that the jungle is not the green hell. People always say it is. He had taught her one critical rule. If you're lost, follow the water. Waterways lead to civilization. With this single piece of knowledge as her compass, Juliane's incredible journey began. She found a small stream. It was her lifeline. She waded and walked, her thin summer dress and one remaining sandal offering little protection. The jungle was a world of constant threat. Poisonous snakes, spiders, and the ever-present danger of piranhas and stingrays in the water were just a few of the perils. Her open wounds became infected. Maggots began to infest the gash on her arm, a gruesome but strangely helpful development as they were eating the dead tissue and preventing gangrene. Days bled into one another. Hunger gnawed at her. She had no food, save for a small bag of candy she found in the wreckage, which she quickly consumed. The jungle floor offered little she could safely identify to eat. The psychological toll was just as heavy as the physical one. The loneliness, the fear, the sounds of the night, it was a relentless assault on her senses and her spirit. She heard the sound of search planes overhead, but the dense canopy that had saved her life now hid her from her rescuers. Despair could have easily consumed her, but she held on. She talked to herself. She kept moving. She focused on her father's words, on the simple, powerful goal of following the water. On the 10th day, her hope was nearly extinguished. She was weak, dizzy, and on the verge of giving up. Then she saw it. A small boat moored on the bank of the river. It felt like a mirage. Was she hallucinating? She touched it. It was real. Nearby was a small, empty hut. She knew this was her chance. She crawled up the riverbank and took shelter inside, too weak to go any further. She spent the night there, enduring the pain of her injuries. She even remembered a trick her father had taught her for dealing with parasites on their dog. She used a bit of gasoline she found in the hut to flush the maggots from her arm, an excruciatingly painful but necessary act. The next day, her 11th day in the wilderness, she heard voices. A group of local lumberjacks had returned to the hut. Their initial shock at finding this injured, ghostly figure quickly turned to compassion. They treated her wounds with local remedies, gave her food, and showed her immense kindness. They then took her on a long canoe journey to the nearest village. From there, she was airlifted to a hospital and finally, miraculously, reunited with her father. Juliane Koepcke's survival is a testament not just to luck, but to education, resilience, and the sheer power of the human spirit. The lessons her parents instilled in her became her most vital survival tools. She didn't just survive. She went on to follow in her parents' footsteps, becoming a successful zoologist, dedicating her life to studying the very rainforest that almost claimed it. Her story is a powerful reminder that knowledge, calmness under pressure, and an unbreakable will to live can guide us through the darkest of times. It teaches us that even when all seems lost, there is always a path forward if you just keep moving, just keep following the water. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. If you found this story as inspiring as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more tales of survival and human strength. Let us know in the comments what part of Juliane's story impacted you the most. Stay safe, stay curious, and we'll see you in the next video.